I hate the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Hear me out here. So, technically, it's not a bad phone. However, there are some very, very frustrating pain points that I've had to deal with ever since I got this phone. The first one being the eSIM. I am so sick of this stupid embedded SIM they have inside of the phone, where basically two times I've had to go to the carrier just to get my phone to work. Very annoying. So it showed up. I got the phone. I couldn't transfer. I couldn't set up my eSIM. Whenever the first one showed up, I had to go all the way to the store, AT&T, to get them to set up my eSIM. And it's really, I think, wasteful and dumb the way they do this. So you have to scan a QR code, and if you've gone to a carrier before, they used to give you a little card, and it had the SIM card inside of it. You could punch out different sizes. They still give the card. It still has the IMEI and all that numbers and stuff on it, but it has a QR code. It's a one-time use. You scan it, you set up your QR code, well, your eSIM on your phone, and then they discard it. You can't use it again. It's not like, let me save the QR code if I ever need to reset up my phone or transfer it later or whatever reason. One and done. So it's really annoying having to be so intimately tied to the carrier just to get your phone to work. And I've even heard horror stories of people taking hours and hours to get their SIM transferred over. Luckily, when I transferred my SIM from my iPhone 14 Pro to the Pro Max, the eSIM transfer only took a few minutes. But yes, trying to get one initially set up. And then today, so I'm with AT&T. I ordered a upgrade. My son wanted the iPhone 14 Pro Max for his birthday. His birthday is coming up in about a week. So I pre-ordered it months ago. Well, it was tied to my number because my number, I just buy my phone outright. So I did it on that. Well, when it came in, it's already set up through the carrier with the number already programmed. So when you turn it on, you have to set it up with that eSIM. So it was assigned to my number. So what happened is I turned it on, I activated it. There's no way around it. You have to set it up and then deal with the carrier after the fact to change the number. So it deactivated the SIM in my Fold 4, and then I had to take my son down to AT&T. We had to get my SIM card set back up on my phone and then transfer it over so that way we could get his iPhone 14 Pro Max set up. And God, it's such a headache. So that's one of the first reasons I hate it. Two, the other reason is iOS 16 has been a dumpster fire. To me, it's been I've had more problems with iOS 16 than I've had with Android 12 last year. I've had all sorts of problems, freezings and crashings and weird glitches on the screen, non-responsive apps, stuff just not working, and it's really annoying. So a lot of that's fixed. So I made a YouTube short before and a TikTok video showing how the screen kept flipping and it would be like half up here and half on the bottom. That thankfully stopped. It only took them about 7 weeks to fix it, but it finally stopped. However, I'm still having a lot of app freezing. Safari freezes all the time. I'll be in like my banking app, the weather app. Like there's a lot of different apps on here. They freeze all the time. The screen becomes non-responsive, and then I have to wait, and then eventually I can swipe up from the bottom, close it, and reopen the app. But even to this day, and we're talking, the phone's been out for a little while now, still having issues with iOS 16, and it irritates the living heck out of me. So that's the other reason. And also, battery life is not good. I made a video about this before saying the iPhone 14 Pro Max battery sucks. And it's about 25–30% less battery than what I experienced with my 13 Pro last year. I'm averaging about 5 to 7 hours screen on time, depending on whether I'm at home on Wi-Fi, whether I'm out on LTE 5G. But yeah, 7 hours is about the top side. When I got my iPhone 13 Pro on iOS 15 last year, I was getting 10 plus hours screen on time. That was the Pro, not the Pro Max. I got the 14 Pro first. I bought it. The battery life was so bad on it for me, I took it back after like a week or two, and I got the Pro Max for the battery purposes alone. And I do like the screen is slightly bigger. That's cool. But yeah, the battery life, it ain't good, Chief. So that's reason number three I don't like it. So I've not been impressed with it. And of course, across the board, the 14 series really isn't much of an upgrade. Like I like the fact that they put a new 48 megapixel camera in here. However, it still bends down to 12, and it still has the worst lens flare out of any phone out on the market. And I guess they're good at winning that camera award, and I had hoped that they would fix it. I really hoped they would fix it. Also, the near field focus is worse than it was last year with the 13 Pro. What I mean by that is when you get closer to the lens, things get blurry. And like not like this close, but if you're trying to record video or take a picture, it has problems like if you're trying to maybe take pictures of like letters and stuff on paperwork or trying to scan a check to the mobile upload, things like that. I pointed out this problem with the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro last year, still there on the 7 and 7 Pro, but yes, now it's an issue with the 14 Pro. And the 13 Pro actually had really good near field focus for the camera that it had last year. I applauded them for that, and I thought it was great. You get the macro mode, you get the telephoto zoom, you get the ultra wide cinematic mode. Yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff here, and I would hope so. The phone costs $1,099, but the frustrations, the headaches, and also it's only, I believe it's only in North America that's eSIM only. Dumbest thing ever. Dumbest thing ever. They should have done like everybody else and give it a little bit more lead time. The networks and the carriers were not ready for prime time eSIM only. It's causing a lot of headaches. The process is not that streamlined, and I know a lot of folks that have had tremendous problems getting the eSIM set up. Fortunately, for most people, when you set up an eSIM, you're pretty good for a couple of years. You don't have to worry about it. However, as somebody who reviews phones, as somebody who takes SIM cards in and out of phones, sometimes more often than I change my shirt daily, it's a problem. So there's a lot of reasons that I am not happy with this phone. And I said this before, if I were not a reviewer and I didn't test out the new phones every year, I would not have kept this phone, or I probably wouldn't even bought it. I don't like to buy things and then review them and then with the intent of returning them. I'm not a fan of that. So I probably just wouldn't have bought it. But the thing is, I did buy it. I am reviewing it, so I did keep it. I would have kept my 13 Pro, which I'm using to record right now, ironically, and I think that it works just fine. The 13 Pro and the 14 Pro, there is no difference. There's no tangible difference in the performance day to day, other than my 13 Pro used to get significantly better battery. But also, you've got this dynamic island stuff up here. It has grown on me. It's better than I thought it was going to be. I tried not to flip out too much about it. It did irritate me with having to deal with the new reality of the big black void on my apps, but it's kind of grown on me. It is useful, so I will give them that. It's going to get more useful over time. And of course, there's always the nice things: Apple Pay, Apple Card. You've got the Pro Resolution now with the 120 hertz refresh rate. There's a lot of nice stuff here. It's a nice phone. It's a technically good phone, but I really don't feel like they did enough here to set it apart and to justify upgrading over the 13 Pro last year. The 13 Pro, man, it was good. And it set the bar, and it set the bar high for battery life standards. And largely, most people coming over to the iPhone 14 Pro have noted and have complained that the battery life is not as good. So the 14 Pro Max, the 14 Pro, I've had both of them. Both of them irritate me, and I mostly hate them. I'm saying that, of course, it's not the worst phone in the world. I've had worse. I mean, like my LG G2X that I had back in the day, and I got like 18 bucks out of a class action lawsuit. There have been a lot worse phones in the world. And once they finally get all the software stuff lined out, I'm sure the experience will be better. I'm sure battery life will probably be a little bit better. But by and large, if you're not just I've got to have the new iPhone every year, if you're not a complete ate up Apple enthusiast, I would buy it. I would stick with the 13 Pro if you've got a 13 Pro anyway. And the 13 series phones, they're great too. But here's the other thing. So this has the A16 in it, but if you buy the iPhone 14 or 14 Max is what it's called now, 14 Plus, I can't remember the name. I think it's 14 Plus. So if you buy that, then yeah, it uses last year's chip. It uses the chip that was in the 13 Pro, which had the additional GPU core and is just slightly better. But basically, it's Apple recycling last year's silicon and charging you this year's prices. So that really irks me, and I absolutely refuse to buy the 14 or the 14 Plus. Man, I'm torn. Is it 14 Plus, 14 Max? I didn't even buy one. I think it's Plus. Let me type it in here real quick. iPhone 14 Plus. Yeah, everyone thought it was gonna be the Max. They went with the Plus. I'm sorry. I don't dive into that area that much with the iPhone. I can't remember everything. Plus, I'm pushing 40 now, so I have excuses. But yeah. Oh, also, the case is utter trash. I'm just gonna say it. I made a video last year saying that the case, this Apple silicone case, the official one, horrible. These things are basically like paper mache. They chip away. They get completely tore up and ate up. All of my kids have like iPhone 13 Pros, Pro Maxes. I've gone through 2 or 3 of these cases in the last year for my kids. Within a month or two, they start chipping away, and then this just starts peeling off. it's complete and utter garbage. And for a company that likes to pride themselves on eco-friendliness, they want to take the charger out of the box so that they can be brave and courageous because, you know, they want to sell you their new MagSafe charger and their additional charging brick that charges a higher capacity because you can't use the 18-watt one on it. You got to use the 20. Yeah, for somebody who cares so much about the environment, they make some utter garbage cases and they charge you like 50, 60 bucks for them. So I've had this one for a month, mind you, just barely over a month. And same thing, it's already tearing and chipping off on the bottom. This complete, utter nonsense. And Apple should be ashamed to sell products that have such terrible build qualities. Like the craftsmanship on, I love this color. The elderberry color, so nice, goes great with my purple iPhone 14 Pro Max. They should be ashamed of themselves because this is like somebody should file a class action lawsuit on this stuff. I'm too lazy to do it, but somebody should because it's the most shoddy craftsmanship I've ever seen on a case, and it only seems to be worse this year compared to last year. So just putting that one out there. But so far, yeah, not really impressed. And if I were not a reviewer, I wouldn't have this phone. I would have returned it, especially with all the iOS 16 issues. And if you're on the fence and you've got a 13 Pro, don't waste your money. If you got a 12 Pro, don't waste your money. I wouldn't even consider getting this phone unless you've got an iPhone 11 or 11 Pro. And then that's a judgment call. So I'm hoping for better with the iPhone 15 next year. You'll probably see the leaks and the rumors and stuff from the Apple guys here soon enough. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, that's it. That's why I don't like the phone. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, and of course, please go to the comment section. I'm sure there's gonna be some fiery, heated. I'm sure there's gonna be some iPhone fans that I angered and made mad. I'm sorry. These are my thoughts and opinions and feelings. If you love your phone, that's great. I hope that you love it and it's serving you very, very well and you're very happy with it. But these are my thoughts on it. I bought all this stuff myself. I wasn't sent any of this stuff, and I'm sharing it with the fam. So that's all I got. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.